Do you have any doubt to buy brand new homes in Greenville or Winterville, North Carolina?
Well, honestly, we get these emails sometimes every so often. We got one recently, and they were looking at homes online, and they said something we've heard before. They said, we love this new home in Winterville, but we're terrified. And we said, why would you be terrified? And then the answer is, there's so much construction in the area. If we buy a house and the builder puts 500 more houses in the area, who's going to buy our old home or our used home when they can just buy a shiny new one down the street? And what about our resale value?
Exactly. And that is really a fair question. Actually, the number one fear we see that people relocating to this area, Greenville or Winterville, North Carolina, and what is it about?
You see the cranes, you see the cement trucks, we see all the houses being built, and people fear that they want to walk into a financial trap. But the reality is that is a fear. You might be walking into one of the places that has the strongest equity as long as you're going to be staying in the house for more than a year when the builder is finished. So we want to do a deep dive. We want to look at Greenville and Winterville head to head, and we're going to look at the numbers, the geography, and the resale value to really debunk that fear and to kind of assuage that, be cool about it, because we don't want you to be fearful of the new construction.
Exactly, and we're going to debunk actually this new construction myth and help you to figure out which of these two markets is actually a smarter place for you and your loved one to invest your money and your future.
Okay, so let's talk about Winterville first.
Exactly. Therefore, we call the relocation dilemma. When you're driving through the Winterville, specifically neighborhoods popping up left and right, no? And the three specific anxiety for people. The first thing, you're scared of the competition, and you are worried that you're gonna sell. When you're gonna sell in 5 years, basically, you will be competing directly against big national home builders, and they can offer granite upgrades, they can offer closing costs, a lot of incentive, and you are just a regular homeowner and you feel like you cannot compete with that in any circumstances.
So basically you're thinking like a house is a new car. So the second you drive the car off the lot, yes, everybody knows the car has depreciated, but this is a house. We are talking about something new. It's just because it's the newest thing on the block is right down the street doesn't mean that your house is going to lose value. So we're just going to talk about what it is. You're more fearful of oversupply. It's a supply and demand problem. People need houses. We have a lot of incoming, which is why a lot of builders are building houses. But we also see you're afraid of oversupply. There's so many supply of new construction, and you're afraid of a glut, afraid of 2008, because they say if economies go up, everything has to come, prices have to go down, but that's not economic reality. I love talking about economics, so I can go into that all day. But real estate is not the same as selling a car or anything else.
Exactly.
There's more things to it than that. You want to add?
And the lack of character argument also coming up too. People worry that the new development don't have any mature, for example, landscaping. When you go there, they look at the house, I said, this is a bare land. There's no tree, there's no landscaping, and there's no view of that how this house is going to look like. And when you compare it with the established neighborhood, it's completely different, because you might have nice, mature, basically tree and shrubs, and also fence and the cleaner street.
Okay, so let's talk about the science now. Let's go into the math and the science. New construction is not the death sentence for your property value. In fact, it can often be a rocket booster. According to the Journal of Housing Economics, they said if new construction hurts the existing prices of homes, and they found quite the opposite. Newer construction often has a positive spillover effect. Here's why. Builders come in, they build a house that's more expensive than what you bought it for, or larger. And that's new, and now it's bringing more people. It's bringing a higher benchmark to the area, a higher value of people who want to buy higher. And this is actually a stronger effect on your home than you realize. And if the new construction is within a quarter of a mile of your home, it's actually going to increase the value, not necessarily decrease. So think about it.
Exactly. If a builder actually put up a house down the street that sells for $400,000 and your house was valued at $350,000, then the new sale is comparable property that at appraisal, when he walks to the neighborhood and look at the comps, he see that house down the street just sold for $400,000. And this actually validate the neighborhood. It brings a new roads, it brings new amenities, and also it acts for like a form of a neighborhood revitalization. Sorry for the English. And or what else you can
So basically, when you have to think of the new houses, we should be thinking, how are they going to raise the ceiling so my house will sell faster or at a better price than what I paid for it? And this is actually a very, very different scenario when you're looking at the two cities on what to buy. So that's why we want to talk about Greenville versus Winterville and the science behind it. So let's talk about Greenville first, because Greenville has more of an investment profile properties, and there is a fundamental economic principle here, scarcity. I love scarcity. Exactly. It's a word that people don't like too much anymore. But as the larger city is the more established, which means the physical growth can be limited, especially if so you have to look to places that you're not necessarily, where people didn't want to be before. You have to look at the surrounding jurisdiction. You have to look at the infrastructure. You have to look at the landlocked places that are in here, because land doesn't grow. It can't change. It's a non-depreciable asset, and they can't make more of it. So what about Greenville?
Exactly. The Greenville or Winterville?
No, in Greenville.
Okay, in Greenville, the supply of actually developable land is a finite, as my wife said, because you cannot create more lands. No, is limited. But the demand keeps growing. Why? We have university, we have hospitals, we have more than 7 actually pharmaceutical company. We have new employers, Hyster, Thermo Fisher, many of them that they are rising demand, and people want to be near economy engines, which is super important. So you have rising demands if you're looking at whole picture and a statistic and meeting with the fixed supply of land. And if you put these two together, then that fear of that you're losing money because the houses are building goes away, because when they sell it, they appreciate it, and the comparables in the market is going to go higher and higher.
Now, if you're looking to be an investor, this is more of a conservative investment opportunity, because the type of person who's going to buy in Greenville is looking more for the safer bet. They're looking for the stability. You're not looking for the volatility, and we understand land is irreplaceable. So that is a classic wealth building mechanism where your land itself is going to be anchored. Your value is anchored to the dirt itself. Now let's talk about Winterville, because Winterville is a growth opportunity. We personally chose Winterville, so I'm not going to lie. It's a growth opportunity, and this is where people's fear hits the hardest.
But we chose it as an accident. No, it was not planned completely.
Yeah.
But
I knew when we drove here that I liked it better.
Therefore, if you're looking at the Winterville, despite of all the buildings that you see, despite of all these cranes around that you see with the new home builders, home in Winterville have appreciated nearly 50% in the last 5 years. Yes, you heard it correctly, 50%. Let's think it for a second. 50%, if the oversupply theory was true that you were afraid of, and if the new construction killed the resale value, that number would be 0 by the time, or at least would be negative. But is skyrocketing. In fact, Winterville home currently command a higher average price than those in Greenville, North Carolina. And why is this happening?
Because Greenville can capture a demand that Greenville is typically not. People have to go somewhere, and people typically want to move a little south of Greenville, away from the river itself, and that is where Winterville kind of really shines, and it is a place to go. So the National Association of Home Builders notes that in many markets, the overall housing supply remains historically tight. But builders do not throw houses up just for fun. They put them there because there is a shortage of desirable homes. And Winterville does not have that many new construction opportunities at the filming of this video. There's more coming. We know there's more coming. There's phase 3s of other areas, but as of right now, it's kind of in a small area. So it's lower. So new construction is not creating a surplus. There's a lot of unmet demand. So when you buy in at Winterville, it's where people want to be. Economic vitality is there, and you're seeing major development plans. Let's talk like Eli's Ridge.
Exactly.
There's going to be like 300 homes there.
Therefore, Eli's Ridge actually is not 300 homes just by the D.R. Horton. It's 125 single family.
No, that's a different community. This is Bill Clark.
On this Bill Clark, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about it then.
There's over 300 there. That's over on Worthington.
He was thinking of something else. I was talking about Ridgewood Farm.
Yeah.
And, yes, the Eli's Ridge by the Bill Clark home.
Oh, either way, these type of projects show that there is economic jobs and economic activity. Unlike Greenville, which has kind of a more full where people want to be, Winterville is more of a physical location where people want to be,
Exactly.
and it's expanding its boundaries. So the extraterritorial jurisdiction has allowed the town to grow strategically. So you're not just getting urban sprawl, you're getting planned communities, you're getting the bigger backyard, you're getting the slightly bigger house where people want to do. So how do you choose? It really comes down to you and your goals.
Now we want to talk about how do you choose. This really comes down to your personality, if you believe it or not, and your financial goal. And let's break it down side by side. Greenville, North Carolina versus Winterville, North Carolina. If you choose Greenville, North Carolina, you're choosing a stable, low-risk profile. Your primary value driver is land scarcity that my wife already talked about it. Your long-term outlook is steady, predictable gains, and this is the best for the investor who prioritize capital preservation or the homeowners. And you want it to be, you want the mature landing trees, mature landscaping, and you want the security of knowing the land next door won't turn into the construction zone because it's already built.
Whereas in Winterville, you're looking at more of a growth-oriented profile. You're looking at economic expansion. You're seeing new desirable communities that people want to be in. You see new Starbucks, new Marriott's coming. You see this is for the investor who wants to ride that wave of development. So if you're okay living near dust for a year or two, because that dust will eventually turn into equity and you'll have modern floor plans, modern amenities, and you'll live in an area where people just are flocking to be, well then Winterville might be your better choice. So let's talk about that. The new construction, both communities are great, but that fear needs to be rethought because expansion can be a positive thing when there's a lot of people coming in and Greenville stability is still there. So there's a balanced landscape that's there at the end of the day. And the mistake isn't in buying in the construction zone. The mistake is not buying at all.
Exactly. And be paralyzed by the fear that what's going on. No, why price going up in both towns, in Greenville, North Carolina and Winterville, North Carolina. We see people get stuck on the decision all the time. And they want the scarcity of Greenville with the new home smells of the Winterville, which is hard to achieve. And sometimes you can find that but usually you need to pick your strategy.
Well, this is a tough question, and we're happy to talk to you about your specific budget, your specific homes. We are here all the time. We drive to Greenville, Winterville all day, every day, and we can do market analysis for you. We can talk about specific neighborhoods that you're buying or looking at. Or if you're looking for a brick ranch in Greenville or a new build in Winterville, both are amazing opportunities. We have to talk about long-term appreciation on that specific home. We're going to talk about the value of the home in the area. Your job is to figure out what you want. We're not trying to help you get. You don't want to bet your life savings. Absolutely not. So you want real numbers based on real data and real property. And that is where we come in. So please call us.
Exactly. Please call us. Adam Victoria Pinder, real estate agent in Greenville and Winterville, North Carolina, part of the Pitt County. Don't forget to look at all of our playlists here if you have any question. And don't forget, comment for us and subscribe and ring that bell. We love to connect with you. And all of our contact information, including our meeting with the Calendly, is in the link below. And see you next time.